What's going on, everybody? We are back.
Back again.
This is Black Sports Entertainment. I'm Ben.
And I'm Brian. And we're here for week 7.
We are here for week 7. I think that all too often when you're talking about, sports and people trying to make predictions and people making guesses and people doing takes, too often people get away from the truth and the reality behind their picks. They don't stick behind their picks. They're easy to front run it and switch it up and this and that. And I think that part of that transparency is just letting everybody know where you were right and letting everybody know where you were wrong. So this week we decided we were going to start it off by touching on where we have been wrong with this NFL season up to this point.
So many stuff's been happening, but you gotta be able to be humble out here and admit your faults, unlike a lot of people. But that's what we're gonna do different here. So one thing we wanted to start off with, or do you want to run them all off?
Yeah, well, we can just start. We'll go one at a time, just back and forth it. But yeah, you can go and start with your first thing that you were wrong about.
All right. So the first thing that I was wrong about was the Cleveland Browns making the playoffs. I wasn't sold. I thought that there was too much competition in the AFC with emerging teams and just that division in itself. But the more and more I just look at it, they're trending upward, and I think Baltimore's trending downward, and now I think they have a solid shot at a wild card.
Not just Baltimore, but think about the South, how weak the South is. Think about the East, how weak the AFC East has become. I mean, shockingly, how weak it's become as well, because the Patriots don't look like themselves. You still have the Dolphins, who are going with a rookie quarterback. You have,
Yeah.
The Bills don't look quite as dominant as they have in past weeks. So it's just surprising the fact that the AFC is kind of more open than I think anybody thought it was going to be, especially with 3 wildcard slots.
Yeah, man. Cleveland's just showing that at the end of the day, you just gotta just pound the ball and you can win games. I think that's kind of the same way that Tennessee's going, but when you got a running back as big as Derrick Henry, why would you not pound the ball?
Right.
But yeah, they're just, despite injuries to Nick Chubb and everything, they're just still running a running back by committee system and just pounding the ball and finding success. I think it's good, and I think that I was wrong about how good of a team Cleveland actually is and their chances at making the playoffs.
I mean, you saw it when Odell went down. They still pushed through and fought and were really competitive after losing who was supposed to be their number one wideout.
Right.
So I think that goes, testament to this sounds crazy, to the front office for building out their club a little bit deeper than just, putting it all on 1 or 2 stars and expecting that to be, the difference maker.
Finally.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds crazy to say that Cleveland has kind of figured it out, but they are definitely trending upward. I would agree with that.
Yeah, I think they got it right with Myles Garrett as well. He was a force, and picking him was a good decision. So many years they picked so many skilled positions and quarterbacks, and also Baker Mayfield has come into his own and become a serviceable quarterback.
I think that's also aided by Odell going down, because now you're not looking just for Odell trying to get him his touches and his catches. You're kind of just looking out there and seeing what's open. And,
whatever
I think
it is,
that'll help him.
I think that he had another serviceable wide receiver in Jarvis Landry as well.
Oh,
so I don't think he had to just focus on Odell. But yeah, overall, Cleveland, pretty good team. I think they can make the playoffs. I was wrong there.
Yeah. I mean, on the flip, I'm just going to go ahead and get my big one out the way, is I said that, Tom Brady looked washed. And I'm not going to completely step back from that and be like, Tom Brady doesn't look washed, but he definitely has more in the tank than I thought. And I think especially when you end up with the defense, with the defense that the Bucs have.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you're getting short fields, the defense plays with a super high motor, so like they're wearing down the other offense. They're having 3 and outs and stuff.
Exactly.
When you get that type of kind of hand in hand, that's what I'm looking for. When you get that kind of synergy between the defense and the offense, where short fields, 3 and outs, you have a long time with the ball, you have a long time to get comfortable with it, you're running a lot of plays, you have a run game. Like when you have all the weapons, you get yards after the catch, you're getting Gronkowski a little more involved, which means there's more stuff underneath available for Tom Brady. So I mean, I just think he has enough in him to get it done. Whereas at the beginning of the season, I was just so far out on the fact that he might not have had like the best, deep balls. I think a little bit of that, and I'm going to touch on Drew Brees a little bit later, but a little bit of that, and early in the season they just look kind of rusty. It might take them a little bit longer to get back in the swing of things. So I'm definitely giving Tom Brady more of a pass. I'm thinking the Bucs look a lot better, especially because the defense is just humming.
Man,
but, yeah,
it's kind of looking like back in the Dungy days, the Super Bowl year when the defense was just shutting everybody out. And I did think it looked good. Brady does look pretty good considering you can't just key in on one guy because they're constantly rotating guys in and out and changing schemes, and that's what we really needed was somebody who's gonna come in here and just make the right decision.
Exactly. And I think that's another part of why I think that he doesn't look as washed is because he has become a smarter quarterback over time, and that's allowing him to make better decisions, read defenses, know what they're about to come at him with, and if he needs to get rid of the ball, little 5-yard, whatever it is, just get rid of it to get those short yards, keep the drive going. He's going to do that, I think when you extend drives, you end up with touchdowns.
Definitely.
and that's all there is to it. He's just playing at a really, really high mental level, and I think that's making up for whatever. If there's a deficiency in his arm or anything like that, he's making up for it with his brain. So it's been a little bit eye opening the past 2 weeks. Just really, really solid quarterback play.
And then it just keeps surrounding him with pieces. I know I said this, and you said you disagree, but he's kind of getting that LeBron-like effect where they just pretty much like, what do you need, Tom? What's going on? You need pieces, or people want to come because you're here? Oh, because the amount of free agent signings and acquisitions and trades that have been made all since have been astounding. We've never seen any kind of shakeups like this. Just this amount of roster moves all in the span of half a season.
I argue to say that the Rams did the same thing. They just didn't. They made it all the way to the Super Bowl. They spent a lot of money in the offseason. They brought in a lot of pieces on the defensive end of the ball and on the offensive end, and they looked really, really good for that season. Like they peaked really hard. So I mean, I think it's a little too early to say the LeBron effect simply because LeBron equals championships. But if it's simply based on like bringing people in and like having enough depth to combat a long season and to combat different defensive schemes, then yes, it's definitely happening. I mean, it's definitely covering his gaps when you have a bunch of speedsters out there, and you see the same thing in Kansas City. You give a bunch of weapons, and that 5-yard pass might be a 15-yard gain. You know that 10-yard pass might be a 23-yard gain. So it just when you have better pieces, it really does extend defenses, and it makes them think. It puts them on their heels, and the bevy of options is definitely part of what's to blame for Tom Brady's success early in the season. I was definitely wrong there.
All right, so